Diamond Matrix said, "Those enlightening beings who, having wisely reflected on the possibilities of knowledge up to the ninth stage, have made a thorough and discerning investigation, have thoroughly fulfilled pure practices, have gathered inexhaustible provisions, have acquired great stores of virtue and knowledge, have attained great far-reaching compassion, are familiar with the distinctions and differentiations of worldly realms, have gone into the thickets of the realms of sentient beings, focus their perception and attention on approaching entry into the sphere of Buddhas, and are intent on the powers, expertises, and other qualities of Buddhahood, are said to have reached the stage of coronation with omniscience in all its aspects. Furthermore, enlightening beings who accord with this knowledge and have reached the stage of coronation realize a concentration called undefiled, one called entry into the analysis of differentiations of the cosmos, one called array of adornments of the pinnacle of enlightenment, one called flower of lights of all appearances, one called oceanic container, one called oceanic plenitude, one called vast as space, one called ascertainment of the intrinsic essence of all things, one called adjusting to the mental behavior of all beings, and one called appearing in the presence of all Buddhas. Beginning with these, they realize incalculable millions of concentrations. They enter and emerge from all these concentrations, and, having attained skill in concentration, they experience all the effects of concentration. At the end of the incalculable millions of concentrations, one realizes a concentration of enlightening beings called bearing coronation by the special property of omniscient knowledge. At the moment one realizes this concentration, there appears an immeasurable lotus made of the finest jewels, as large as 10 billion world universes, inlaid with all kinds of jewels, beyond the range of all worlds, arisen from transmundane roots of goodness, existing in the realm of the essence of illusoriness, appearing based on the cosmos, beyond the range of the heavens, with a jewel stem, a pericarp of incomparable sandalwood, a fringe of huge emeralds, leaves of shining gold, its body flowering with innumerable rays of light, its interior filled with all the finest jewels, covered with a boundlessly vast net of jewels, surrounded by as many great jewel lotuses as atoms in 10 billion world universes. The enlightening being, in a corresponding form, stands by and immediately upon attainment of the concentration bearing coronation with the special qualities of omniscience, appears seated on the great jewel lotus. As soon as the enlightening being is seated on this great jewel lotus, as many enlightening beings as there are surrounding jewel lotuses come from the 10 directions, circle that enlightening being, and sit on those great surrounding jewel lotuses, and each of them enter a million concentrations while gazing on the central enlightening being. Immediately upon everyone's entry into concentration, all worlds quake, all ills cease, all universes are pervaded with revealing light, all worlds are purified, the names of all Buddha lands are voiced, all enlightening beings of the same practice gather, all celestial and human music and song sound forth, all beings become blissful. The inconceivable honoring and attendance of all the perfectly enlightened ones commence, and the circles of all the Buddhas are made known. What is the reason for that? As soon as the enlightening being sits on this great jewel lotus, from the soles of the enlightening being's feet emerge countless millions of light rays, which illumine the uninterrupted great hells in the 10 directions and extinguish the torments of the beings in the hells. From the circles on the knees of the enlightening being emerge countless millions of light rays which illumine all the animal realms in the 10 directions and extinguish the sufferings of all the animals. From the sphere of the navel emerge countless millions of rays of light which illumine all the ghost realms in the 10 directions and extinguish all the pains of all the beings in the ghost realms. From the left and right sides of the enlightening being emerge countless millions of rays of light which illumine the humans in the 10 directions and extinguish human sufferings. From both hands emerge countless millions of light rays which illumine the abodes of celestials and titans, extinguishing their pains. From the shoulders emerge countless millions of rays of light which illumine all those in the vehicle of listeners, followers of the elementary teachings in the 10 directions, and present to them a way of entry into the light of the teaching. From the back of the neck emerge countless millions of rays of light which illumine all the individually awakened ones in the 10 directions and present to them a method for quiescent concentration. From the face emerge countless millions of light rays which illumine all the enlightening beings in the 10 directions, from those who have just been inspired for the first time up to those who have reached the 9th stage, and present to them the principle of wisdom and skill and means. From the circle of hair between the brows of the enlightening being emerge countless millions of rays of light which shine on the abodes of demons in the 10 directions and eclipse them, and then illumine the enlightening beings who have reached the stage of coronation and disappear into their bodies. From the top of the head emerge as many rays of light as atoms in countless millions of billion-world universes, illumining the sites of congregation of all Buddhas throughout the reaches of the space of the cosmos, then circling the world to the right in 10 ways, then stopping in the sky and forming a great circular network of lights, and then proceeding to make a great offering called blazing light to all Buddhas. That offering is such that the offerings of all enlightening beings from the first inspiration up to the 9th stage cannot compare even to the smallest fraction of it. Furthermore, from that great circular network of lights there reign, in all universes in the 10 directions, manifestations of flowers, incenses, garlands, perfumes, aromatic powders, robes, parasols, banners, pennants, clothing, ornaments, jewels, and more, all beyond the scope of all worlds, produced by the influence of stores of transmundane roots of goodness, complete in all their features and qualities, sustained by the inconceivable power of nirvana. Rains of various arrays of great riches pour as from a great cloud on the places of assembly of each and every Buddha, and whoever perceives those offerings becomes assured of perfect enlightenment. Then the lights, having made these offerings, again illumine the circles of assembly of all Buddhas, then circle the world to the right in 10 ways, and disappear into the soles of the feet of those Buddhas. Thence it is known to those Buddhas and those enlightening beings that in this world, this realm, this place, the enlightening being following such a practice has reached the time of coronation. Then from incalculable lands in the 10 directions, enlightening beings up to the 9th stage come to that enlightening being, encircle the enlightening being, make great offerings, and, while gazing on that enlightening being, enter 1,000,000 concentrations. From the gloriously adorned thunderbolt systems of well-being on the bodies of enlightening beings who have attained the stage of coronation emerges a great light ray called Demon Conqueror, each ray accompanied by countless millions of light rays. Having illumined the 10 directions and shown countless miracles, The light rays again disappear into the enlightening being's thunderbolt symbols of well-being. As soon as those light rays of 100,000 higher qualities disappear, there appears an increase in the power and strength of the enlightening being. Then there emerges from the circle of hair between the eyebrows of the Buddhas beams of light called possessors of omniscient superknowledge, accompanied by countless light beams, illumining all worlds in the 10 directions, circling the worlds in 10 ways to the right, inspiring many hundreds of quadrillions of enlightening beings, causing all Buddha lands to quake in 6 ways, stopping all death and rebirth in bad conditions, eclipsing all abodes of demons, showing the settings of enlightenment of all Buddhas, and illuminating all worlds throughout the cosmos to the furthest reaches of space, then returning again, circling all assemblies of enlightening beings to the right and manifesting an immense array. Those beams of light disappear into the top of the enlightening being's head. The accompanying light beams in the same way enter into the heads of the enlightening beings assembled around that enlightening being who has reached the 10th stage, whereupon they attain 1,000,000 concentrations that they have never attained before. At the same time as those light beams enter the enlightening being's head, the enlightening being is said to be coronated. In the realm of perfectly, completely enlightened ones, having fulfilled the 10 powers, the enlightening being enters the ranks of the perfect Buddhas. It is like the son of a universal ruler, the crown prince, born by the principal wife, becoming imbued with the characteristics of a universal ruler. The universal ruler seats him on a magnificent golden elephant throne, and, bringing water from the 4 seas, setting over the palace great arrays of flowers, incenses, lamps, garlands, perfumes, aromatic powders, cloths, parasols, banners, pennants, music, and song. He takes the golden pitcher containing water from the 4 oceans and anoints the head of his son with the water, whereupon the son joins the ranks of the consecrated rulers. Then, when he has fulfilled the 10-fold path of good action, he gains the name of universal ruler, the one who turns the wheel of the law. In the same way, as soon as the enlightening being is coronated by those blessed Buddhas, the enlightening being is said to be anointed with great knowledge, and having fulfilled the 10 powers by the anointment of complete Buddhas, the enlightening being enters the ranks of the truly consummately enlightened ones. This is the enlightening being's anointment, or coronation with great knowledge, in quest of which the enlightening being undertakes many hundreds of thousands of difficult practices. Thus coronated, matured in immeasurable virtue and knowledge, the enlightening being is said to be established in the 10th stage, which is called Cloud of Teaching. Enlightening beings in this stage have accurate knowledge of the totality of the realm of reality, the realm of desire, the realm of form, the formless realm, the realm of worlds, the realm of all beings, the realm of consciousness, the realm of the created and the uncreated, the realm of space, and the teaching of being and non-being. They have accurate knowledge of the totality of the realm of nirvana and of afflictions created by views. They have accurate knowledge of the totality of the becoming and decay of worlds, of the practice of followers of the elementary Buddhist teachings, of the practice of individual illuminates, of the practice of enlightening beings, of the Buddha's powers, expertises, unique qualities of Buddhahood, and material and spiritual bodies, of omniscience in all its aspects, of demonstration of attainment of enlightenment and turning the wheel of teaching. In sum, they have accurate knowledge of accomplishment of all the different ways of access to truth. They also have accurate knowledge of the projection of the world, the projection of the cosmos, the projection of Buddhist followers, the projection of individual illuminates, the projection of enlightening beings, the projection of Buddhas, and the feasibility or unfeasibility of all projections. They also know the basis of all Buddhas as it really is. They know too the basis of the teaching, the basis of the community, the basis of action, the basis of affliction, the basis of time, the basis of commitment, the basis of reverence, the basis of conduct, the basis of ages, and the basis of knowledge, all as they truly are. Also, all knowledge of the Buddhas entering into subtleties, knowledge of details of practice, of death in heaven and rebirth on earth, of birth, of leaving home, of attaining enlightenment, of miracles, of setting the wheel of the teaching in motion, of preaching the truth, of the full details of the teaching, of the support of the lifespan, of the manifestation of the body of glorified form, of the orderly guidance of all beings, of manifestation in all worlds, of observing the mental behavior of all beings, of observing past, present, and future in a single instant, of the entire past and future, of the totality of mental actions of beings in all their variety, of the inconceivable powers, expertises, and special qualities of the enlightened, of the ultimate nirvana of the Buddhas, of the lasting of the true teaching based on instruction. Beginning with these, they accurately know all the incalculable knowledges of Buddhas entering into subtleties. They know all the secret matters of the Buddhas, such as the secret of the body, the secret of speech, the secret of mind, the secret of consideration of right and wrong timing, the secret of giving enlightening beings predictions of enlightenment, the secret of taking care of sentient beings, the secret of encouragement and censure as means of guidance, the secret of impartiality in timely admonition and instruction, the secret of establishing a variety of vehicles of liberation, the secret of distinction of beings' conduct and faculties, the secret of penetrating beings' acts and deeds, the secret of distinction of enlightening beings' practices and faculties, the secret of enlightenment through practice and realization of inherent power, the secret of the basis of realization of intrinsic essence, the secret of manifestation and liberation, the secret of attraction and expulsion, the secret of showing the attitudes of standing, walking, sitting, and reclining, the secret of provision of food and physical necessities, the secret of showing speech, silence, meditation, liberation, concentration, and attainment. They know all such secret matters of the Buddhas as they really are. They also accurately realize all the Buddha's knowledges of the interpenetration of ages, such as one age as containing incalculable ages as containing one age, calculable ages as containing incalculable ages as containing calculable ages, a moment of thought as containing ages as containing moments of thought, ages as containing non-ages as containing ages with Buddhas as containing ages without Buddhas as containing ages with Buddhas, past ages as containing future and present ages as containing past and future ages as containing past and present ages, long ages as containing short ages as containing long ages, the containment of what is made of perceptions in all ages, the containment of ages in all that is made of perceptions. They also accurately know all the complete Buddha's penetrating knowledges, such as knowledge penetrating a point the size of a hair tip, knowledge penetrating atomic particles, knowledge penetrating realization of enlightenment in the body and land of a Buddha, knowledge penetrating realization of enlightenment with the body and mind of a sentient being, knowledge penetrating the realization of enlightenment in all places, knowledge penetrating demonstration of preposterous actions, knowledge penetrating demonstration of conformist behavior, knowledge penetrating demonstration of unconventional behavior, knowledge penetrating demonstration of conceivable and inconceivable acts, acts that can be recognized by the world and acts that cannot be recognized, knowledge penetrating demonstration of acts that can be understood by Buddha's disciples, acts that can be understood by self-enlightened people, acts that can be understood by enlightening beings, and acts that can be understood by Buddhas. Just as such vast extent of knowledge of the Buddhas is immeasurable, so also the penetrating knowledge of enlightening beings in this stage is infinite. Furthermore, the enlightening beings following this stage attain the liberation of enlightening beings that is called inconceivable, and the liberations called unobstructed, pure discernment, all-sided illumination, treasury of realization of thusness, following the unhindered wheel, comprehending past, present, and future, matrix of the cosmos, radiance of the circle of liberation, and attainment of the realm of totality. Beginning with these, enlightening beings in the 10th stage attain countless hundreds of thousands of doors of liberation, and in the same way they attain hundreds of thousands of concentrations, mental controls, superknowledges, and spiritual powers. They attain hundreds of thousands of lights of knowledge, mystical transformations, accomplishments of analytic knowledge, masteries of means and wisdom, floods of great compassion, and entries into the controlling powers of enlightening beings. By means of intellect in accord with such knowledge, they become imbued with infinite ability to recollect anything. They are able to receive, take in, and hold infinite great revelations, clarifications, and clouds of teachings from the Buddhas of the 10 directions in a single instant. Just as no place on earth except the ocean can bear, can receive, can take in, can hold the great mass of water showered by the clouds of the oceanic water spirit, in the same way the entries into the mysteries of the Buddhas, great revelations, great clarifications, great clouds of teachings, cannot be borne, received, taken in, or held by all sentient beings, listeners, or self-enlightened ones, or even by enlightening beings from the 1st to the 9th stages. It is the enlightening beings in the 10th stage, cloud of teaching, who bear, receive, take in, and hold it all. It is as the ocean bears, receives, takes in, and holds the great clouds of one water spirit, or 2, or 3, up to the innumerable great clouds of innumerable water spirits in a single instant, because of the immeasurable vast breadth of the ocean. In the same way, enlightening beings in this 10th stage, cloud of teaching, bear, receive, take in, and hold, in a single instant, immeasurable great revelations, clarifications, and clouds of great teachings from 2, 3, up to infinitely many Buddhas. Thus this stage is called cloud of teaching. The enlightening being Moon of Liberation said, "Is it possible to count how many Buddhas the enlightening beings receive and hold the great revelations, clarifications, and clouds of teachings from in a single instant?" Diamond Matrix said, "It is not possible to give a numerical account of how many Buddhas enlightening beings receive teachings from in a single instant. I will, however, make a simile. Suppose that in each of the 10 directions, in worlds as numerous as atoms in untold quintillions of Buddha lands, and all the realms of beings found therein, there were one being with the mental command to retain whatever he heard, an attendant of Buddhas, a great disciple, foremost of the holders of learning, and that being were endowed with such power of skill in learning. Now suppose all the beings in all those worlds were similarly endowed, and what was learned by each one was not learned by another. What do you think? Would the learning ability of all those beings be immeasurable? Moon of Liberation said, "Great, immeasurable would be the learning ability of those beings." Diamond Matrix said, "I tell you, in an instant the enlightening beings in this stage of cloud of teaching bear, receive, take in, and hold from a Buddha a great cloud of lights of revelation of teaching called treasury of past, present, and future of the cosmos. The aforementioned ability and learning cannot compare to the minutest fraction of this ability to hold the cloud of light of revelation of the teaching. And just as they receive this from one Buddha, so also do they receive and hold the cloud of lights of revelation of great teaching called treasury of the past, present, and future of the cosmos, from as many Buddhas as atoms in all the worlds of the 10 directions, and from yet more, from infinite Buddhas, all in a single instant. Hence this stage is called cloud of teaching. Furthermore, enlightening beings in this stage, by the power of their own vows, cause great clouds of compassion to arise, manifesting the thunder of the great teaching, flashing the lightning of mystic knowledge, science, and expertise, whipping up a great wind of radiance, covering all with a dense cloud of virtue and knowledge, showing a dense swirl of various bodies, uttering the proclamation of the great teaching, routing the horde of demons, and in one instant, throughout as many quadrillions of worlds as atoms in the worlds in the 10 directions mentioned above, and throughout yet more worlds, incalculable hundreds of quadrillions of worlds, they show great rains of goodness-bearing elixir of immortality, and settle and extinguish all the dust and flames of afflictions of beings produced by ignorance. Hence this stage is called cloud of teaching. Furthermore, the enlightening beings in this stage of cloud of teaching manifest all the works of Buddhas in one world, beginning with abiding in the heaven of satisfaction, then descending to earth, abiding in the womb, birth, leaving home, attaining enlightenment, being requested to teach, setting in motion the wheel of the teaching, and the stage of great ultimate nirvana, manifesting these to beings according to their dispositions and capacities for being guided. As they do this in one world, so also do they do the same in 2 worlds, up to unspeakable, untold numbers of worlds. Having attained such control of knowledge, with absolutely certain great knowledge and mystic knowledge, at will they show a defiled world as pure, show a pure world as defiled, show a narrow world as broad, show a broad world as narrow. In this way, by mystic power, they show magical transformations of all worlds, vast, measureless, minute, erroneous, deranged, inverted, upright, and so on. If they want, they can put a whole world, including its peripheral mountains and seas, into a single atom, yet without expanding the atom or shrinking the world, displaying all functions therein. They put 2, 3, 4, 5, up to untold numbers of worlds into one atom, yet without expanding the atom, and still displaying all the functions in the worlds. At will they show in one world the arrays of 2 worlds, or, as they wish, show the arrays of up to an untold number of worlds. As they wish, they show the array of one world in two worlds, or in up to an unspeakable number of worlds. As they wish, they show in one world the beings in up to an unspeakable number of worlds, yet without injuring or troubling those beings. As they wish, they show the beings of one world in an unspeakable number of worlds, without injuring or disturbing the beings. As they wish, they show the full array of a Buddha realm in a point the size of a hair tip. If they wish, they show the full arrays of untold Buddha realms in one point. As they wish, they instantly emanate as many bodies as atoms in untold worlds, manifest that many hands on each individual body, and make offerings to the Buddhas of the 10 directions with those hands. With each hand they sprinkle as many baskets of flowers on those Buddhas as there are grains of sand in the Ganges River, and do likewise with fragrances, garlands, perfumes, aromatic powders, robes, parasols, banners, and pennants. They also manifest that many heads on each body, and manifest that many tongues in each head, telling of the glory of the Buddhas. In the arising of a thought, they go throughout the 10 directions, in each moment of thought causing the appearance of infinite sets of the process of attainment of enlightenment up to great ultimate nirvana. They also manifest infinite embodiments in all times, and also cause to appear in their own bodies the immeasurable arrays of qualities of lands of infinite Buddhas. They also cause the appearance of all worlds becoming and disintegrating in their own bodies. They also emit all whirlwinds from a single pore, yet without hurting or troubling sentient beings. And, if they wish, they can make endless worlds a single body of water and set a great lotus thereon. The array of lights of that great lotus pervades endless worlds, showing therein the branches of the trees of enlightenment and all aspects of omniscience. In their own bodies they manifest the lights of the 10 directions, including the lusters of jewels, lightning, the lights of the sun and moon, and the lights of all deities of light. With each breath they shake endless worlds, yet without frightening the sentient beings therein. They also manifest the destruction by gales, fires, and floods in the 10 directions. Also they cause the appearance of physical adornments according to the wishes of beings. They manifest the body of Buddha in their own body. They manifest their own body in the body of Buddha. They manifest their own Buddha land in the body of Buddha. They manifest the body of Buddha in their own Buddha land. Thus do enlightening beings in this stage of cloud of teaching show these and infinitely more magical transformations. At that point it occurred to the enlightening beings in the assembly, as well as to the spirits, goblins, nymphs, titans, and various gods. If the range of performances of mystical powers of enlightening beings is thus measureless, what must that of the Buddhas be like? Then Moon of Liberation, knowing what was going on in the minds of the congregation, said to Diamond Matrix, "This assembly is in doubt. Show something of the miracles of enlightening beings to stop their doubts." Then Diamond Matrix entered the concentration of enlightening beings called Revelation of the Essence of the Body of all Buddha lands, whereupon all the beings in the assembly perceived themselves being within the body of the enlightening being Diamond Matrix, and there they perceived the formation of a Buddha land, the array of features within which could not be all told of in millions of eons. There the tree of enlightenment was as broad as 1,000,000,000,000 world universes, the lofty tops of its innumerable branches wide enough to fill 10,000,000,000,000,000 world universes. On the terrace of enlightenment there was a broad lion seat, with characteristics corresponding to the tree, on which was seen a Buddha named King with a mind endowed with all mystic knowledges, on the supreme place of enlightenment. Thus they saw such magnificent arrays of adornments as could not be all told in a million eons. Then, having displayed this great miracle, Diamond Matrix put all the enlightening beings, gods, dragons, goblins, nymphs, titans, fairies, and other creatures back in their respective places. At that point they all fell silent in unprecedented wonder and stood there looking at Diamond Matrix. Then Moon of Liberation said to Diamond Matrix, "The range of production of magnificent arrays of this well-nigh inconceivable concentration is most extraordinary. What is the name of this concentration?" Diamond Matrix said, "It is called Revelation of the Essence of the Body of all Buddha lands." Moon of Liberation said, "What is the arrangement of the sphere of action of this concentration?" Diamond Matrix said, "By successful cultivation of this concentration, enlightening beings can, at will, show in their own bodies as many Buddha lands as atoms in as many worlds as grains of sand in the Ganges River, and even more. You know, enlightening beings in the stage of cloud of teaching attain many hundreds of thousands of enlightening concentrations like this. Because of this, enlightening beings who have reached even the stage of crown prince of the teaching and are established in the ninth stage, good mind, cannot know the body or physical action of enlightening beings in the 10th stage, cannot know their speech or verbal action, cannot know their mind or mental action, cannot know their spiritual powers, cannot know their observation of past, present, and future, cannot know their entry into the state of concentration, cannot know their sphere of knowledge, cannot know their liberation and freedom, cannot know their acts of emanation, mystical power, and radiance, cannot even know, to sum up, even the raising and lowering of their feet as they walk. This is how infinite the enlightening being's stage of cloud of teaching is. This is a brief summary explanation. The full details could never be all told. Moon of Liberation said, "What is the entrance into the range of the sphere of Buddhas like, if the realm and power of the practice of enlightening beings is so infinite?" Diamond Matrix said, "Your question seems to me like that of a man who picks up a few pebbles and says, 'Which is bigger, the endless realms of the earth or these pebbles?' How can you compare the state of enlightening beings to that of the Buddhas, the completely enlightened, who have measureless knowledge? That which can be picked up off the ground by hand is small, while the rest of the earth is immeasurable. In the same way, even this cloud of teaching stage of enlightening beings would only be told to a small extent, even if it were explained for countless eons. How much the more so of the stage of Buddhahood? I will now tell you about Buddhahood, so you will know. And the Buddhas stand before me to bear me witness. Suppose in each of the 10 directions as many Buddha lands as atoms in infinite worlds were filled with enlightening beings who had reached this stage. The accomplishments of those enlightening beings affected over endless eons do not amount to the minutest fraction, do not compare at all to the scope of one moment of knowledge of Buddha. Following this knowledge, enlightening beings, with body, speech, and mind not other than those of Buddha, do not abandon the power of concentration of enlightening beings, yet they visit and attend Buddhas, and pay each one honor in all kinds of undertakings for endless eons. Because of their extensive service, they receive from the Buddhas the illumination of empowerment and become all the more unfazed in answering questions as variegated as the cosmos for millions and millions of eons. Just as a great ornament, inlaid with great jewels, fashioned by a celestial craftsman, fastened on the head or neck of the king of the gods of controlling power, cannot be outshone by the ornaments of other gods or humans. In the same way, the ornament of knowledge gained by enlightening beings in this 10th stage of cloud of teaching cannot be outshone by all sentient beings, Buddhist followers, solitary illuminates, or enlightening beings from the 1st to the 9th stages. The light of knowledge of the enlightening beings in this stage is conducive to the introduction of sentient beings into omniscience, and cannot be outshone by other lights of knowledge. Just as the light of the great Lord God is beyond all realms of birth and delights the bodies of living beings, in the same way the light of enlightening beings in the stage of cloud of teaching cannot be eclipsed by all followers, solitary illuminates, and enlightening beings from the 1st to the 9th stages, and even ultimately leads beings to the state of omniscience. Furthermore, enlightening beings following this knowledge are told by the Buddhas knowledge of past, present, and future, knowledge of the differentiations of the cosmos, knowledge of pervasion of all worlds, knowledge of the power of illumination of all worlds, thorough knowledge of all beings, lands, and phenomena, knowledge of the mental behaviors of all beings, knowledge of how to develop all beings to maturity according to the time, with impeccable discipline and skill in analytic knowledge of all things. In some, they are told infinite revelations of omniscient knowledge. In these enlightening beings, the transcendent way of knowledge is paramount, while they practice the other transcendent ways according to their power and their lot. This is a summary of the 10th stage of enlightening beings, called Cloud of Teaching. It would take forever to tell the full details. Most of the enlightening beings in this stage are great Lord gods, capable, mighty in teaching beings the ways of transcendence of disciples, solitary illuminates, and enlightening beings, unfazed in answering questions on the differentiations of the cosmos. Whatever acts they undertake, whether through giving or kind speech or beneficial action or cooperation, it is all never apart from thoughts of Buddha, the teaching, the community, enlightening beings, the practice of enlightening beings, the transcendent ways, the stages, the powers, expertises, and unique qualities of Buddhahood, and ultimately of omniscience in all its aspects. Why? Because they would become the best of beings, unexcelled leaders and guides, and ultimately omniscient refuges. Accordingly, they initiate such effort, by which burst of energy they instantly attain as many concentrations as atoms in 10 quintillion unspeakable numbers of Buddha-lands. See that many Buddhas and realize their power. Shake that many worlds. Go to that many Buddha-lands. Illumine that many worlds. Mature that many beings. Abide for that many eons. Penetrate that many eons past and future, ascertain that many ways of access to truth, and show that many bodies, each body surrounded by that many enlightening beings. Beyond that, enlightening beings with the power of vows perform, by the excellence of their vows, countless transformations of their bodies, auras, mystic powers, vision, spheres of action, voices, conduct, adornments, powers, resolutions, and performances. Bequest. These in sum are the stages of enlightening beings, the details of which would take forever to tell. These are the stages which have been, will be, and are expounded by the Buddhas of past, future, and present. Furthermore, these 10 stages of enlightening beings are to be seen in accord with omniscience in all its aspects, as it gradually becomes manifest. It is like the water flowing from the lake heatless. By 4 great river currents it suffices the continent, inexhaustible, ever increasing, benefiting infinite beings, and finally pours into the great ocean. That water from the very beginning is headed for the ocean. In the same way, the water of roots of goodness flowing from the great lake of the will for enlightenment, by the currents of 4 great vows and integrative methods of salvation, suffices all realms of beings, inexhaustible, ever increasing, benefiting infinite beings, and finally pours into the great ocean of complete omniscience. That water of roots of goodness from the very beginning is headed for the ocean of omniscience. Furthermore, those 10 stages of enlightening beings are manifested based on enlightened knowledge. It is as the 10 great mountains are manifested based on the earth. They are like the snowy mountains, intoxicating with fragrance mountain, crystal mountain, wizard mountain, yoke-bearing mountain, horse-ear mountain, fish-holding mountain, the circular enclosure mountains, endowed with brightness mountain, and the polar mountain wonderfully high. Just as the snowy mountains are mines of all kinds of medicinal plants, which may be collected without exhausting them, in the same way an enlightening being in the stage of joy becomes a mine of all worldly poetry, writing, and the science of magic spells, which may be applied endlessly. Just as the mountain intoxicating with fragrance is a mine of all kinds of fragrances, whence all kinds of fragrances may be collected inexhaustibly, an enlightening being in the stage of purity becomes a mine of the fragrance of all the ethical conduct of enlightening beings, whence the fragrance of all ethical conduct of enlightening beings may be collected inexhaustibly. Just as Crystal Mountain is a mine composed of pure jewels, from which all kinds of jewels may be taken inexhaustibly, in the same way an enlightening being in the stage of refulgence becomes a mine of all worldly meditations, mystic knowledges, liberations, concentrations, and attainments, inexhaustible in answering questions about all meditations, mystic knowledges, liberations, concentrations, and attainments in the world. Just as Wizard Mountain is a pure jewel abode of wizards with 5 mystic knowledges, where there are countless such wizards, in the same way an enlightening being in the stage of blazing becomes a mine of higher knowledges of penetration and explanation of all paths to liberation and paths that do not lead to liberation, inexhaustible in answering questions with higher knowledge of the disparity between liberative paths and non-liberative paths. Just as Yoke-bearing Mountain is a pure jewel abode of spirits of great magical powers, where there are countless such spirits, in the same way an enlightening being in the stage difficult to conquer becomes a mine of mystic knowledges, spiritual powers, occult transformations, and miraculous effects, able to answer questions about these phenomena inexhaustibly. Just as Horse-ear Mountain is a pure jewel mine of all kinds of fruits, from which all kinds of fruits may be gathered inexhaustibly, an enlightening being in the stage of presence becomes a mine of penetration and explanation of interdependent origination, inexhaustible in answering questions about realization of the fruits of Buddhist discipleship. Just as Fish-holding Mountain is a pure jewel abode of all water spirits of great magical powers, where there are countless water spirits, similarly, an enlightening being in the stage of far-going becomes a mine of teaching of means and wisdom, inexhaustible in answering questions about the realization of the fruits of individual illumination. Just as the circular enclosure mountains are a pure jewel abode of those imbued with power, where there are countless powerful beings, similarly, an enlightening being in the stage of immovability becomes a mine of effects of powers of enlightening beings, inexhaustible in answering questions about the differentiations of worlds. Just as the mountain endowed with brightness is a pure jewel home of titans with great magical powers, where there are countless titans, similarly an enlightening being in the stage of good mind becomes a mine of application of knowledge of the becoming and passing away of all beings, inexhaustible in answering questions about the formation and disintegration of all worlds. Just as the mountain wonderfully high is the pure jewel home of divinities of great power, where the divinities are countless. Similarly, an enlightening being in the stage of cloud of teaching becomes a mine of the powers, expertises, and unique qualities of Buddhas, inexhaustible in answering questions about the manifestation of the works of Buddhas. Just as these 10 great mountains exist in the ocean and appear from the ocean, in the same way these 10 stages of enlightening beings exist in omniscience and appear from omniscience. Just as an ocean undeniably counts as an ocean because of 10 characteristics, that is, because of progressively becoming deeper, because of not lodging a corpse, because other waters lose their identity in the ocean, because of uniform flavor, because of containing many valuables, because its depths are hard to reach, because it is immeasurably vast, because it is the abode of giant creatures, because the tides do not exceed their bounds, and because it receives all the rains of the clouds without being filled. In the same way, the practice of enlightening beings is undeniably counted as such because of 10 characteristics. Because of gradually deepening of accomplishment of vows in the stage of joy. Because of not lodging the corpse of bad conduct in the stage of purity. Because of relinquishment of worldly designations in the stage of refulgence. Because of the uniform flavor of unbreakable pure faith in Buddha in the stage of blazing, because of innumerably many valuable accomplishments of works in the world by higher knowledge and expedient means in the stage difficult to conquer, because of the hard-to-fathom profundity of examination of interdependent origination in the stage of presence, because of immeasurable vastness of skill and discernment in the stage of far-going, because of being the abode of colossal displays of production of supernal manifestations in the stage of immovability, because of accurate comprehension of profound liberation and worldly actions without going over the boundary in the stage of good mind, because of receiving the water of the great clouds of revelations of teachings of all Buddhas without being sated in the stage of cloud of teaching. When a great jewel surpassing the 10 classes of jewels is picked up, fired by a skillful craftsman, well-rounded, purified, well-polished, skillfully pierced, strung on a precious thread, mounted above a banner on a jewel pole, emanates all kinds of light and becomes recognized by a king, then it serves as a basis for the gathering of all precious things by all beings. In the same way, when enlightening beings' determination for omniscience, surpassing the 10 religious groups, is aroused, fired by austerity, frugality, discipline, and training, well-rounded by meditation and concentration and absorption, purified by the practices of the path, polished by expedient means and higher knowledge, pierced by interdependent origination, strung on the variegated precious thread of means and wisdom, mounted atop a banner on a great jewel pole of spiritual power, emanates the light of knowledge of observation of the conduct of living beings, and arrives at coronation with enlightened knowledge by the Buddha. Then it becomes a basis for all beings' collection of the jewels of all Buddha works. Furthermore, this book on the way into the teaching of assembly of the practices of enlightening beings and accumulation of the qualities of omniscience cannot be heard by those who have not planted roots of goodness. The enlightening being Moon of Liberation said, "With how much virtue do they become imbued who hear the book on the way into the teaching of accumulation of the qualities of omniscience?" The enlightening being Diamond Matrix said, "As much as derives from omniscience, that much would the quantity of virtue be, owing to the objective embraced by the determination for omniscience. As much virtue as accrues from the objective embraced by the determination for omniscience, that much virtue would be attained by turning to this teaching. Why? None but enlightening beings can hear this book on the way into the teaching of accumulation of the qualities of omniscience, or devote themselves to it, or take to it, or take it up, or hold it, or preserve it, much less cultivate it, act on it, apply it, foster it, or attain it. Thus it is those who follow the way to omniscience that can preserve it, those who hear this book on the way to accumulate the qualities of omniscience, and, having heard it, devote themselves to it, preserve it, and apply it in practice. Then, by the spiritual power of Buddha, and as a result of the natural order, the worlds of the 10 directions, as many worlds as atoms in 100 million Buddha lands, quaked in 6 ways, with 18 characteristics. They trembled, trembled intensely, trembled everywhere intensely, shook, shook intensely, shook everywhere intensely, quaked, quaked intensely, quaked everywhere intensely, resounded, resounded intensely, resounded everywhere intensely, stirred, stirred intensely, stirred everywhere intensely, roared, roared intensely, roared everywhere intensely. By the power of Buddha and by the natural order, celestial clouds of flowers and garlands, robes, parasols, jewels, ornaments, banners, and pennants showered. Also magnificent high celestial clouds of solar orb jewels rained, and magnificent high clouds of musical jewels and clouds of pure gold orbs showered, and celestial music and singing was heard. Also clouds of songs of praise of the stage of omniscience, surpassing the celestials, were heard. As in this world, in the heaven of control of others' emanations, in the palace of the chief god, on the jewel mine seat this teaching was spoken, so it was also throughout all worlds in the 10 directions. By the power of Buddha and by the natural order, from the 10 directions, from beyond as many worlds as atoms in 100 million Buddha lands, there came and assembled as many enlightening beings as atoms in 100 million Buddha lands. Having arrived, pervading the 10 directions, they said, "It is very good, offspring of Buddha, how well you express the true nature of enlightening beings. We also have the same name, Diamond Matrix, and have come here from worlds called Diamond Splendor, from the presence of Buddhas called Diamond Banner. In all those worlds this teaching is carried on, by the empowerment of the Buddhas in assemblies like this, with the same phrasing and expression driving at the same meaning, with no decrease or increase. We have come here as your witnesses by the power of the Buddhas. Just as we have arrived in this world, so have we arrived at the jewel mine throne in the palace of the God King in the heaven of control of others' emanations in the 4 continents of each and every world in the 10 directions." Then the enlightening being Diamond Matrix, having looked over the 10 directions and the congregations everywhere, observing the cosmos, by way of praising the determination for omniscience, revealing the sphere of enlightening beings, purifying the power of practice, expounding the absorption of omniscience, removing all the defilements of the world, presenting omniscient knowledge, showing the crest of inconceivable knowledge, and revealing the qualities of enlightening beings, spoke these verses by the power of Buddha, describing the meaning of the stages. Listen to the excellent practice of enlightening beings, who practice calmness and self-control, are tranquil and peaceful in mind, who are like the sky, similar to space, who have shed all defilement and abide in knowledge of the way. Having cultivated good for countless eons, and served hundreds of thousands of Buddhas, and honored many self-conquerors and saints, the will for enlightenment is born for the good of the world. Born is the will for enlightenment, equal to the enlightened, in those refined by discipline and austerity, who have reached ultimate patience, who act with modesty and dignity, born of virtue and knowledge, who are broad-minded and intent on enlightened knowledge. To honor all the Buddhas of past, present, and future, purify all lands throughout space, truly comprehend all truths and liberate beings, the will for enlightenment is born. To do good for all is the will for enlightenment born, and the joyful and benevolent who practice giving, who are always determined to benefit all beings, who apply the virtues of Buddhas and pledge to protect the living. Born is the will for enlightenment, for the weal of all beings, in those divorced from evil, whose conduct is pure, who practice self-control, whose senses are calm and cool, who have taken refuge in Buddha, intent on enlightening practice. Born is the will for enlightenment, for the benefit of all, and those who practice good, vessels of patience and coolness, who know the flavor of virtue, have abandoned arrogance and insolence, with minds detached and pure, calm and cool. Initiating pure action, enduring with firmness and vigor, human lions striving for the welfare of all people, having conquered afflictions by persistence and virtue, in this state of mind the will for enlightenment is born. With well-concentrated minds, the darkness of delusion dissolved, arrogance gone, they have abandoned defiled paths. Enjoying the bliss of peace, they have given up attachments to routine life. In this state of mind, the will for enlightenment is born. With minds clear as the sky, with knowledge abstract and applied, having killed the demons, dropped afflictions and conceit, abiding in the refuge of Buddha, finding the truth, their desire. In this state of mind, their will for enlightenment is born. Firm in means and intelligence to achieve liberation from the realms of being, endowed with technique, science, and spiritual power to escape the force of evil, seeking the qualities of Buddhas, desirous of virtue. In this state of mind, their will for enlightenment is born. Wishing all beings well, having fulfilled the provisions for enlightenment, with determined minds, they do even what may be difficult, enlightening beings never giving up their intent to do good. In this state of mind, their will for enlightenment is born. Thus they should carry out enlightenment practices of multifold virtues. Vowing to follow Buddha's footsteps, they should attain truth and spiritual power. Having purified the three realms of being, they should attain the will for enlightenment. Having purified the three refuges, they should become enlightening beings. This will be reiterated in sum, so listen. When the will for enlightenment is attained, those who practice giving, then, having reached extreme joy, will become lords of the land. There, protecting beings by providing what they require, having established their own giving, they can get others to do so. Having settled all in enlightenment, they will have perfected giving. By following this principle, they will arrive at discipline. Having achieved right conduct, they will become well-behaved. Thence, having reached purity, they will become lords of 4 continents. Stationed there, protecting beings by stopping evil, abiding in their own moral conduct, they can get others to do so too. Having settled all in enlightenment, they will have perfected morality. By maturation of this practice, they will come to the practice of forbearance. Maintaining the practice of right forbearance, they will become good bearers of patience. Thence, having reached refulgence, they will become lords of the 33 heavens. There, protecting beings by stopping the courses of afflictions, abiding in their own practice of forbearance, they can get others to do so too. Having settled all in enlightenment, they will have perfected patience. By maturation of this virtue, they will come to the practice of vigor. Having concentrated right energy, they will become good at maintaining vigor. Thence, having reached blazing, they will become lords of the heaven of timely portion. There, protecting beings by stopping wrong views, they will establish right insight and foster enlightenment by effort. Stable in their own practice of vigor, they can exhort others as well. Having settled all in enlightenment, they will have perfected vigor. By the results of this virtue, they will come to the practice of meditation. Having conquered all afflictions, they will become stabilized in concentration. Having concentrated on right meditation, they will become skilled in concentration. Thence, having reached the difficult to conquer, they will become lords of the heaven of the satisfied. There, protecting beings by stopping wrong paths, having established right teaching and fostered enlightenment by effort. Abiding in their own practice of meditation, they can urge others to do so too. Having established all in enlightenment, they will have perfected meditation. By the results of this virtue, they will come to the practice of wisdom. Having conquered all demons, they will possess wisdom, higher knowledge, and spiritual power. Having accomplished true wisdom, they will become skilled in mystic knowledge. Having thence attained presence, they will become lords of the heaven of pleasant emanations. There, protecting beings by stopping conceit, having settled them in emptiness and fostered enlightenment diligently. Abiding in their own practice of wisdom, they can induce others to do so too. Having settled all in enlightenment, they will have perfected wisdom. By the results of this virtue, they will practice right means. Having conquered all views, they will be skilled in right teaching. By the exercise of right means, they will lead beings into enlightenment. Thence, having reached far going, they will become lords of the heaven of control. There, protecting beings by awakening realization, enlightening them after having set them in the way of enlightening beings. Abiding in their own skill and means, they will also exhort others. Having settled all in enlightenment, they will have perfected means. By the power of this virtue, they will come to good vows. Having conquered false views, they will be wise, having attained right insight. Settled in true enlightenment by a rightly resolved mind, thence having attained immovability, they will become Brahma lords of 1,000 worlds. There, protecting beings by teaching the 3 vehicles, enlightening them by establishing them in comprehension of the world. Abiding by their own vows, they can also induce others. Having settled all in enlightenment, they will have perfected commitment. By the power of this virtue, they will come to the practice of power. Certain of perfect enlightenment, once all views are conquered. By the combined exertions of right power, they will overcome all those in error. Thence, having attained good mind, they will become great Brahmas, powerful. There they will protect beings by teaching the Buddha vehicle, enlightening them by establishing them in the knowledge of beings' minds. Steadfast in their power, they can also induce others. Having settled all in enlightenment, they will have perfected power. By the results of this virtue, they will come to the practice of knowledge, enlightening beings, minds of virtue, having conquered the 4 demons. Having attained right knowledge, they will be skilled in true teaching. Having thence reached cloud of teaching, they will become great lords, adept. There they will protect beings by enlightening them in all ways, enlightening them by establishing them in highest omniscience. Stable in their own knowledge, they will also guide others. When they have settled all in enlightenment, they will have perfected knowledge. By the powers of this virtue, they will be victors, lords of the 10 powers, imbued with all virtues, omniscient, in the course of nature. Having contemplated this, the noble should practice with concentrated minds to attain the state of perfect enlightenment, having fulfilled the 10 ways of transcendence. Thus, having attained enlightenment and liberation, and conquered the 4 demons, having settled all in enlightenment, you will attain perfect peace. Having heard this and thoroughly known the means and accomplishment of enlightening beings, you will attain unobstructed enlightenment, the state of the felicitous. This has been a summary exposition of the 10 stages of enlightening beings, to be seen in accord with omniscience, complete in all aspects. At that point, the billion-world universe quaked in 6 ways. All kinds of flowers rained steadily. Celestial and human music played, and the intoxicating sound was heard to the very summit of existence. Then the Buddha said, addressing Moon of Liberation and all the other enlightening beings, "Good people, this complete perfect enlightenment, developed over countless eons, I commend to you, entrusting it to you, with the ultimate charge that you will yourselves hold this teaching and also fully elucidate it for others. To put it succinctly, if the Buddha were to remain alive for an eon expounding the glories of this teaching day and night, neither would the glory of this teaching be ended, nor would the eloquence of the Buddha be exhausted. Just as the Buddha's conduct, concentration, wisdom, liberation, knowledge, and vision are measureless and endless, likewise is the case of those who will take up this teaching, preserve it, recite it, write it down, cause it to be written down, master it, put it into action, and fully expound it in the community, who will tell it to people faithfully and respectfully with consideration of how these people might attain the lofty teaching, and get them to reflect on it reasonably, who will write it down in a book and have it kept, respected, taken seriously, and honored in the home, who will tell the glories of this teaching without envy, and speak it so it may be written, told, recited, honored, and revealed. Their virtue also has no end." Then the Buddha, to again make the bequest of this teaching, spoke these verses. "If the beings I see by my enlightened vision were saints equal to Shariputra, and one should honor them for millions of ages, as many as the sands of the Ganges River, and if someone honored an individual illuminate day and night, cheerful, with the finest garlands and such, and thereby created excellent virtue. And if all were individual illuminates, if one honored them diligently with flowers and incense, food and drink, for many eons, still if one made even one bow to one Buddha, and with a pure mind declared obeisance, the virtue would be greater than all that. If all beings were to become Buddhas, and someone would honor them as mentioned before, with celestial and human flowers of many kinds for many eons, one who, at the time of the extinction of the true teaching, having relinquished body and life, would give this scripture day and night, would be superior in virtue. Whoever wants to honor the Buddhas, or individual illuminates, or Buddhist disciples, should rouse firm determination for enlightenment, and always give this lofty scripture. For this is the king of all good messages. It has emerged from all the Buddhas. The Buddha is in the house where this scripture jewel is placed. Who passes on even one line from this scripture will attain pure and endless light. One who gives this scripture to others will not be deprived of a syllable, of a meaning. Supreme is that one among guides of humanity. No being can be found like this one. Having heard and accomplished this teaching, one will be inexhaustible as the ocean. When the Buddha said this, Moon of Liberation and all the enlightening beings, the celestials, the disciples and other people, and the whole assembly were all transported with joy at the Buddha approving what Diamond Matrix said.